Hello, I'm Jeff Seyler, and I am the CEO of the American Lung Association of Massachusetts, and we're at 393, I talked fast, sorry, Maple Street in Springfield. The American Lung Association, or the ALA, is concerned about adding thousands of pounds of pollutants into the air in the Pioneer Valley area, which already has some of the dirtiest air in the state, as many of you know. According to the American Lung Association's State of the Air report this year, where counties across the country were graded and ranked, Hampden County was graded F and ranked as one of the worst counties in the country with regard to particulate matter air pollution. Some assertions have been made recently about the credibility of our data and process, and I'd like to just answer those assertions now briefly. First, to be clear, we used the data that the DEP provided to the EPA to make our assessments nationally and locally. The evaluations differ because EPA is currently required to use a standard that everyone, surprisingly including the EPA, acknowledges is out of date. In fact, in December, the EPA itself proposed an even stricter standard than the ALA used to grade the air in the Pioneer Valley at F. There have been nearly 2,000 studies on particle pollution since 1997, and everyone, even industry representatives, has recognized the need for tighter standards. Both ozone pollution and particulate matter have been scientifically linked to premature death and are of serious concern. So we are in a situation where this area is already ranked poorly for air quality under the current standard, and the standard will only be getting tighter and stricter. As I said, there is widespread agreement that the air standard is not tight enough, and the ALA obviously supports the adoption of stricter air standards to make it safer for people to breathe. I would like to add that in the previous presentation by the proponents, the EPA standards were, I believe, presented as kind of ironclad, and I again believe that that's not the case. In addition to having poor air quality, Hampden County also has some of the highest asthma rates in the state. The ALA believes that there is a correlation between the poor air quality and the high asthma rates that we see in our communities throughout the region. We are very concerned about adding pollutants to the air, which can exacerbate our already poor air quality and cause asthma rates to rise further. Asthma is a serious condition that causes wheezing, shortness of breath, and when exacerbated by outside factors, affects the quality of life of thousands of people across the state, especially here in the Pioneer Valley. Because NOx emissions from this plant are expected to exceed the threshold of 50 tons per year, we are told it will need to purchase emission offsets from other plants that pollute less. The ALA and other environmental organizations commonly refer to these offsets as credits, and we understand that they can be purchased from as far as 100 miles away. The ALA looks at this practice as literally buying the right to pollute. We feel that this practice places the burden of breathing these additional pollutants on the residents of Russell, Westfield, and the rest of the Pioneer Valley area. As one might expect, wood smoke is a large source of particulate matter, and its emissions contain components such as carbon monoxide, various irritant gases such as hydrochloric acid and formaldehyde, and chemicals known or suspected to be carcinogens. Findings from studies demonstrate a reduction in disease resistance associated with wood smoke exposure. The health effects of wood smoke exposure include respiratory symptoms, difficulty breathing, and increased hospital admissions for respiratory infections. Finally, population studies have shown that young children, the elderly, and people with pre-existing cardiopulmonary disease are most likely to be affected. The bottom line here is that we want to have less pollutants in the air, not more. By adding more pollutants, especially in a non-attainment area, we are building a larger air quality problem that we will have to solve in the future, especially as the air standards become even stricter. Thank you for your time and for hearing our concerns.